Hey guys, it's Jessica Hayes. So anyone that follows me on Instagram and Snapchat may already know that I went to the coolest Halloween party pretty much in the world. It's called Theatre Bazaar and it happens at the Masonic Temple in Detroit every year. It is an insanely amazing Halloween party. If you're interested to see pictures or video snaps from that, I will leave them at the very end of this tutorial. So my husband and I he went as the Witchfinder General and I went as a hung witch. This look was very heavily inspired by an Alex Box visual that I love. So if you would like to know how to create this spooky hung witch look, keep on watching and I will teach you exactly how to do it. Depending on how your skin is feeling should decide what you put on as a base. I'm just going to use a little bit of moisturizer. This is the Mirrored Skin Quencher. My face is kind of dry right now. If you do get super oily, Bye Bye Pores Primer is a really good one to use underneath this kind of makeup. It really makes the skin not produce oil, and some Halloween makeup can be quite oily. So usually I would start off with something like this. I used this when I did my husband's makeup the other week for Theatre Bazaar. Usually he gets quite shiny throughout the night, but this really saved us. So for the base, I'm going to be using these two Illamasqua foundations. This is the color 4.5, which is my everyday color, and then this is the white skin base. I'm using kind of more of a 2/3 to 1/3 ratio with that, and I'm just going to mix that together quite well and apply that with the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation brush. The reason why I mix the white in with the normal skin color that I use is because I want the skin to be pale and dead looking, not white. If you already have super pale skin, go ahead and use white, but what I would recommend is just getting the white base and mixing that in with the foundation that you use every day. So I'm just using the brush to kind of pat that into the skin after it's all evenly applied. Just gonna do the ears just a little bit as well. Even though you're wearing a wig, you wanna make sure nothing looks your normal skin color. And you can take that down the neck a little for now. We'll fully go in and do the neck later. I'm just gonna go in with the Kat Von D Lock-It concealer in L1 and just conceal around the eyes. This isn't a super important step because obviously we're trying to look dead, so covering up eye bags isn't like a huge priority, but I have been liking this concealer for an eye base lately, so I'm simply going to use this as an eye base. I'm going to be using a lot of the Kat Von D Shade and Light eye palette. The best colors for these looks are deeper kind of taupey colors like this and blacks and anything that more cool undertone. So if you already have a ton of those taupe colors in other palettes, go ahead and use those. So I'm going to brush quite a lot onto my Smith 232 brush, and I'm going to start by building up this inner corner right here. If you have oily skin or really like to set underneath the eye area, go ahead and do that prior to this. But for now, we're just adding that taupey kind of color, deepening up the bridge of the eye. You're gonna make sure that you bring it up into the brow hairs as well, regardless of whether they're bleached or not. For the corner of the eye, we're gonna do like a sweeping effect up into the temples. So you're gonna take that from the outer corner and start to sweep that upwards. And don't be afraid to take that into the hairline. You can lightly just take that through the crease just a little bit as well. I'm also going to take that color on the point of the brush and do almost like a triangle shape underneath the eye. So once you're satisfied with blending, I'm just going to use that same brush and get a little bit of that black color. And then we're just going to start to deepen up the crevices and bring that up into the bridge. Don't be afraid to build and blend with this look. I'm just going to take that black color and flick it a little bit past the eyebrow. Same brush, I'm going to go back to that original taupe color and make sure that that kind of blends down the nose a little bit here. Grab a little more black and then start to deepen the outer crease of the eye. Set that color in there first and then brush anything left outwards. Okay, I'm just gonna make those meet just ever so slightly with whatever's left on the brush. Just with the Urban Decay Perversion Liner, line the inside of your eyelids and then make sure you get into that lash line as well. I'm just going to take this Morphe M506 brush to smudge that in. Just kind of bring that down with that triangular shape under the eye as well. If there are any areas in the eye that you want to darken, just take that pencil and just buff it in a little bit. See how there's those little gaps of skin that you can see in the waterline there? Just make sure that those are definitely covered. I'm going to grab the color Taupe from NYX and just use that to heavily contour the cheekbones. At the edge here, I'm just going to slightly drag that down just a little bit. Not so that you can see it really, but it's going to give a slight shadow pulling downwards, which will make the face look more gaunt. Whatever's left on my Smith 112 brush, I'm just going to dust that down the sides of the nose. And then I'm just going to take that same brush and just kind of dust it into the temples just a little bit. Now I'm just going to grab this color again and the same brush and then just slightly go over that contour just a little more. This will kind of deepen it and cool it down at the same time. For the eyebrows, I'm going to take the Kat Von D White Locket Concealer and a spoolie. And you can definitely do this regardless of whether your brows are bleached or not. If you don't have bleached brows, it will just give it more of an ashy effect, but it still looks super cool. If you can't get your hands on the Kat Von D Locket Concealer, I recommend using something like the Urban Decay Subversion Lash Primer or any kind of lash primer that makes your hairs a little whiter. So I'm just going to comb this through the eyebrows. I'm going to be very careful not to touch the skin. With that same spoolie, I'm going to grab a little more of that concealer on that brush and then I'm going to use it to coat my eyelashes. Bottom lashes too. Next, I'm going to take the white concealer again and a tiny little fine point brush and I'm going to use this to do little lines over the face. I'm just going to pop a little bit of that concealer on the back of my hand. I'm going to start them from the beginning of the brow. These lines are kind of meant to look a little bit veiny, so they can be kind of natural and wavy, a little bit sporadic as well. You definitely don't need a steady hand for this. Going to make like a little fork off that vein and then another one there. The key to these is to make them nice and fine. If you do any that you don't like or you do like a splodge that's too much, just get the tip of a beauty blender and just kind of buff it back into the skin. And then you can just go ahead and go over whatever you didn't like. So I'm going to take these lines into my temple a little bit. Just kind of dab that in just so the line doesn't look like it starts from anywhere. We're kind of trying to make these lines look organic as well, so just make sure that they're not the same on each side. For the lips, I'm just going to run that foundation brush over it. Whatever's left on that Smith 232 brush, I'm just going to dust through the middle of the lip. And bring it out the sides just a little bit too. And also underneath the lip too. Next, I'm going to take these two OCC Cosmetic pencils. This is the shade Black Dahlia, and I'm going to start by buffing that in the center of the lips first. Try to get it inside your mouth as much as possible. I'm going to go back to that same brush, stretch the lips out and buff it into the lip. If you get too far, you can just grab your foundation brush and just lightly buff over the top of it. Now I'm going to get the Tarte pencil, which is black, and just do the inside of the mouth. A little bit in the creases just to darken it up a little bit. Then I'm going to go back to that white concealer and that tiny little brush. Just do some little lines off the crease of the lip. I'm just going to use the white straight up for the neck because I'm not going to apply quite as full coverage as I did with the face. I'm wearing a wig, so I'm not going to do the neck, but if you weren't wearing a wig, I would definitely do anywhere where any skin is exposed. You could definitely continue on with just something like this if you wanted to do creepy, ghouly kind of makeup. My costume for the Halloween party that we went to was a hung witch, so I'm actually going to create some bruising around my neck as if I was a witch hung in the witch trials. So I'm going to start with that Black Dahlia pencil from OCC and just start by drawing a line around the neck. I'm just going to use this Zoeva concealer buffer just to kind of buff it into the skin. Because this is going to be a bruise, this doesn't have to be perfect or symmetrical. It's actually going to be better if you kind of do it a little bit all over the place. This Viseart Dark Matte palette came in handy a lot. I used these purpley colors to go over that Black Dahlia pencil. And I'm just using kind of blotchy patting motions for this. I'm gonna go in with another clean concealer buffing brush, and then I'm gonna grab this khaki kind of color right here and just go randomly along the edges. Next, I'm going to get that black Tarte pencil and just kind of scribble it along that line as well in the middle and just kind of buff that over. You can either use your Kat Von D concealer in white for this. I'm going to use the Urban Decay Razor Sharp Liner in Bump. I'm going to use this to make little veins on the chest. Do them sporadically like I did on the face. This has a really nice fine little point tip in it, so it's good for doing these finer details. Usually I'll start them from the cleavage and just kind of scatter them upwards. Sometimes I like to take a few random ones just up over the jawline as well. I also for the night contoured my collarbones a little bit as well, just with that taupe color we were using at the beginning. I'm gonna go ahead and put my wig on. This is just one that I got from the beauty supply store. I've already gone ahead and popped some baby powder in it as well, because I think that just makes it look like old and creepy. What I like to do as well is just grab a little bit of your own hair. And even if you don't have dark hair and you want to wear a black wig, you can always spray it black with a little bit of root cover up. That just makes the hairline look a little more natural. With the hands for the night, what I actually did was buff the Illamasqua skin base all over the bottoms of my hands. And then I actually took a black liquid lipstick, the Ofra black liquid lipstick, and a big brush and just painted the tops of my fingers as well. To set the faces, I actually used the It by Pores pressed, just in the areas that you think that you might get a little bit shiny. And then make sure you give yourself a really good spray with setting spray, and on your chest and hands as well. So if you do end up wearing something that's hooded, what you can do is just get a little bobby pin and clip it right there to the front of your wig, and that will help your wig to stay even, your hood to stay even all night as well. If your part still does look a little bit skin color, just go over with your foundation brush and just buff that a little bit. Don't worry if it makes your hair look a little bit gray, because that'll just look even cooler. I hope you guys liked this Halloween tutorial. I'm sorry it took me so long to get it together. Halloween's in a few days now, so hopefully some of you will get a chance to recreate this spooky look before Halloween. I have had an insanely fun month. My husband and I have done so many fall activities, pumpkin patch, Halloween parties, going to cider mills, haunted hay rides, haunted houses. It's been insanely amazing. So I didn't have much time to create any spooky looks for you guys. So anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this recreation of my Halloween look for Theatre Bazaar. Like I said, if you guys want to see some snips from the coolest party ever, keep watching at the very end. I will leave some Snapchat. I hope you are enjoying my favorite time of the year. It's actually my husband and I's anniversary on Halloween, so we will be celebrating that. Anyways, have an awesome, happy Halloween, guys, and I will see you around. Bye.